Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you guys are having a great day. Today I've been working on the path leading up to the windmill here. I've added a couple of extra bits into it just to kind of bring the windmill into the theme of the rest of the area. We've got this set of steps, kind of rustic rural steps heading up here. There's just alternating grass and oak wood slabs. I had to move around some of the terrain here just to make sure that the slabs would come up in this kind of staircase thing that I could just run up instead of having to jump up blocks here and there. We're lining that with cobblestone and stuff. It's going pretty well so far. Also up here at the windmill, I've added a couple more bushes and added a couple of small patches of wheat around the place because you feel like the wheat farmer, if he's been baling up the wheat down here, he might also have tracked some seeds in on his shoes or something like that, and so the wheat has kind of grown up around the door as he's scraped the wheat seeds from the bottoms of his shoes or something like that. I don't know. It's it's an early experiment. So what I'm doing inside here is that I'm coating the floor with, what is this, stripped oak wood. I think this is stripped oak wood. And I've got a kind of improvised spiral staircase that I'm actually quite happy with because it involves having spruce trap doors around the outside, especially further up, just to kind of keep you in the staircase itself. Because up here, there's every chance that you could fall out here if there wasn't this kind of protective layer of trap doors. But now they're actually there. They provide a nice kind of like handrail effect, and they blend in really nicely with the spruce wood. So I really like that. I think that's going pretty well. I'm going to add a couple more down here just to make them look a little bit better. But having spruce trapdoors there also, you know, it means you can ignore the fact that that's a floating block if that's the kind of thing that bothers you. So I was in there working on the interior and a thunderstorm happened. And I was sorry that I didn't get that on camera. Unfortunately, I was not quick enough to get my recording software loaded up because the thunderstorm only happened very, very briefly. But it was long enough for this to happen. Over there is a horse that is not like the others. One of these horses is a skeleton horse. That one there, that one behind him is a sheep, so don't worry about that. The skeleton horse that has spawned over there can only appear in a thunderstorm, and this is something that, you know, is quite rare, so it's actually worth explaining to you guys while we have the opportunity to. Now, let me go and run into the house here so I can use the bed, because I don't think I brought the bed with me up to the windmill. So let me head over and do that, and then I can show you guys what the deal is with this skeleton horse. So the skeleton horse might actually more accurately be called a skeleton horse trap, because when they first appear in the middle of a thunderstorm, they can seem quite innocent, roaming around on the plains. You'll find them anywhere that horses spawn naturally, so you can probably have a good idea where you're going to encounter one of these if you've already found a plains biome. I think horses can also spawn in savannas occasionally, stuff like that. So there are a few biomes where you will find horses, and if you walk up to one of these, something very, very dangerous is about to happen. So make sure you've got a shield, a sword, and a bow, and as decent armor as you can manage, because this happens. The 4 skeletons of the apocalypse arrive, and usually, if they're not too spread out like this, they actually start attacking each other because they're skeletons firing bows from horseback, and they're running around on horses, and it can get a little bit hectic. And a lot of the time, they'll end up shooting each other. They've all got enchanted armor and enchanted bows, so it's actually quite nice if you've got a looting sword, but the trick is to take them out from a distance with a bow, because as you can see, the guys over there are just standing still because they're far enough away from me, and they've moved fast enough that in that distance that they're not really going to bother me, whereas this guy who's up close is really giving me a hard time. I'm having trouble hitting him. He's jumping off things. He's strafing around everywhere. It's really difficult to hit him with a bow and arrow, so I'm going to have to try and run up to him. Oh no, he's gone into the wheat field. He's probably going to trample all of my crops now. So let's try and get a decent distance away. There you go. Once mobs get a certain distance away from you, a lot of the time they will stop moving. So you can just fire on them and they don't have any kind of alternative. They can't really fire back. Unfortunately, I have just killed one of the skeleton horses, but that one down there is actually loose, which is absolutely fine. There we go. Got rid of that skeleton. Let me go and quickly pick up the experience and any bones they happen to drop, because I'm kind of short on bones right now. I could use the bone meal, and there's a chicken has left an egg in there as well. Looks like they trampled a little bit of the crops here. That might have been the skeleton, but I think the horse actually managed to leave them alone. That is worth it. Good. Okay. Let's take out these last two horsemen from the vantage point of this hilltop up here. So as you can see, this thing has the potential to be very dangerous, especially if they spawn in an enclosed space that you don't really have much of a chance to fight back. But once you start shooting at them, oh, that one just walked down a hole. If you get them off the horses, they are just like other skeletons, really. But the fact that they spawn on horses and they are quite that fast is the difficult part. Yep, looks like we hit the horse again, sadly, but that's not a problem. We can take out the skeleton over there from a distance. Might even get the sniper duel achievement for this if he's far enough away. Let's see if we can hit him. I'm not very good with the bow today, apparently. There we go. Got that guy taken care of. And we have one horse down here who is just roaming around on his own. And notice that once you've taken out one of the horseman but left a horse behind, it doesn't activate this trap effect again. This skeleton horse is effectively ours now. And the cool thing about these guys is that you can hop on them right away. You don't have to tame them like you do with other horses. You can just saddle up your skeleton horse and ride him around. Now, right now, he isn't responding to my movement controls because, unfortunately, I don't have a saddle on me. So let me run back to the house and see if I've stashed a saddle away in one of the loot chests. I'm certain we got one from a dungeon, and I'm fairly certain we got them from fishing in a few episodes ago as well, so I'm sure we will have a saddle handy that I can use to saddle up this horse. There we go, we got 5 of them. Okay, that's more than I was expecting. Good stuff. Let me take this up here and we will saddle up a horse. Now, I haven't gone into how to tame a horse before, so I think we might also cover that in this episode, because the skeleton horses are an exception to this. Normally, you have to tame a horse by getting it used to you, and it will throw you off a couple of times before it will let you ride it permanently. Skeleton horses, because they've already been ridden by these skeletal riders, come pre-tamed. So effectively, what you have to do is walk up to a horse and right-click on it to mount up, then press E to open your inventory, and you'll notice that the inventory looks a little bit different. It's got the skeleton horse here, and it's also got a spot for a saddle. Once you saddle up your skeleton horse, you'll be able to control its direction of travel using the arrow keys, and you'll probably be able to sprint a little bit as well. Skeleton horses can also jump, although the jump is something that you have to hold down the space button, and you see the bar at the bottom of the screen? That is what controls the height of the jump. So if you jump while it's in the blue, it just does a normal jump, and if you jump while it's in the red at the end, it will jump a little bit higher. So horses can actually jump a lot higher than players. You can actually use these to get over a significant amount of blocks. And the advantage to having horses is that when you run around, you don't have to jump up individual blocks. Horses will simply travel up over them like so, making them a decent way to get around in the early game. Obviously, right now, since we have Elytra, we can just fly anywhere we want to, but this is a decent reason to have a horse in the early game. And not only that, but horses don't have any kind of durability. It's not like an Elytra where you have to repair it every now and again. This horse is never going to run out of steam. It does have a health bar down there in the bottom right-hand corner of the hotbar. You can kind of see there is a set of hearts that look different to the player hearts. That is the health of this horse. The horse will also have an armor gauge if you can attach armor to it, but skeleton horses cannot be armored. So that's a good reason for us to investigate the taming of another horse. Now, when it comes to actually having the skeleton horse around, we can probably ride it over to the house and leave it there, but there are ways of actually leading a horse around and tying it up to places. Those involve crafting leads. To make a lead, all you will need is 1 slime ball and 4 string. And let's see if we have the string somewhere in here. Oh, we got some more slime balls in there. Fantastic. I will grab those in a second. But in fact, to make a lead, all you really need is the string and a slime ball in that formation, and you get 2 leads each time. So if you have a couple of different things that you want to tie up here and there, then that works out just fine. Now, where did that skeleton horse go? It seems to have wandered off into the field. Fantastic stuff. I'm sure he's on his way back to the other skeletons. Oh, and he's causing me to trample all of my crops. Oh dear, I'm going to have to craft myself another hoe, aren't I? All right, let's run through the fields and probably trample a few more things as we go. Now let's get off the horse here, and I think we should be able to lead this guy around. Actually, no, maybe skeleton horses can't. I forget that there are certain rules that govern whether or not you can lead an animal. For the most part, domesticated animals like cows and sheep and so forth are fair game. Now, where are we going to put this guy if not in here? Because we don't really have a safe stable where I'm not going to accidentally swipe at him. Simple answer, we can build a stable for him here, and I've actually decided I'm probably going to block off the entrance to the mine down here. We have other ways we can get to the mine, and I think this side of the house would be the perfect place to build a stable. So let's let's grab some stone brick, maybe, I think would be a good idea to build a kind of roof for the stable as like a kind of shelter over here. It's probably okay to leave the skeletal horse to wander for now. That's not going to be too much of a problem. Let's build a kind of sloped stable roof like so. Actually, we'll have it coming out 2 blocks at a time like that, just so it's kind of a nice shallow roof. And right now, we've seen enough of the barn that I don't need to worry too much about blocking off this side of it. That should be fine. Now, yeah, let's have that as the edge of it like so. Now, is that 3 blocks high right there? Yeah, it is. Fantastic. Okay, we can probably put in some supporting logs like that, maybe strip a couple of the blocks in here, maybe replace that one with a spruce one, actually, just so it's got a bit of a darker patch there. It kind of looks like several flavors of chocolate or something, doesn't it? Anyway, let's pop the same on this side. We'll end it around here. Yeah, like that. And then we can have that coming out 2 more blocks and down 2 more like so. Fantastic. That looks pretty good. How are we going to fill the center of this in? I think I might get rid of this supporting section of the house here. Maybe replace that with a stone brick stair so it's kind of more supported in the middle. And then we'll have the middle one come out a little bit after. Yeah, there we go, like so. So that it's slightly different from the central roof. So it's got a bit of a central roof ridge there. And we'll turn the rest of this into... Do we want oak slabs or spruce? I think I might go with spruce this time because I've got a few spruce slabs on me already. So let's fashion those into a kind of central section there. 1 block like so. Yeah, okay, that's looking cool. That's looking cool. And the key thing here is going to be to have fences on either side. We'll probably take these bushes out for the moment. Have fences on either side so that the horse can't escape from here, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. This is looking quite nice so far. Let's have that go. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's going to have to come 1 block in, isn't it? I think we might place some stone brick slabs around the outside as well to give it a kind of overhang here, just to make sure it looks nice and blended in. Oh no, a skeleton has come to reclaim his horse. I think this guy's actually looking for some place to get out of the sun, and yeah, I think we will have to move the skeleton horse in now. I hope that we can make it underneath that overhang, because when you sit on a horse, you're actually several blocks tall. I think the horse has actually wandered off up here right now. See, this one is going to be trouble, I can tell. So we're going to bring you down here and pop you in the stable here like so. Fantastic. So we didn't knock our heads on the top there. If you got a full block there when you walk into a place on a horse, you can actually take suffocation damage. The horse is normally fine, but the player itself can actually take a little bit of damage, so you got to be careful about that stuff. Now let's build a fence gate at the front here so the horse can't get out, because it will try and leave on its own, not because it doesn't want to be there, just because its AI is going to program to sort of find an open space to wander around in. So we don't really want that. Let's grab a spruce fence gate to pop that down in the front there, and there we go. The horse is contained, at least for now. And now if we wanted to split this out into separate paddocks, we could do. We could actually have it like so. Obviously, the dirt patch there is going to go away. The grass path is going to go away. But if we had a spruce fence gate there, one there, and then we can just do a line down the middle, now you've got room for a couple of horses, and I can't get out. Let's make another spruce fence gate to go here. Now, the thing about the fence gate is that you won't be able to get out with just one of those. So chances are we'll need to pop in another one there and have 2 side by side that open so you can let yourself out when you're on the horse. So let's make a couple more of those. And now, while I think of it, I've made a stone hoe, and I'm going to go and repair a few sections of the wheat field that we trampled in the chaos that we just had. Let's get the seeds on there, replacing the shield. There we go. Should be able to deal with that nice and easy. And I think we'll leave that torch there for now, because we've got a scarecrow nearby. There's a couple of patches over here that got trampled as well. And there was a couple up here, if I remember right. There was one that the skeleton jumped onto. There we go. There might be a couple elsewhere. We will get them later. I have actually been harvesting some of this wheat and replanting it, because we've needed wheat for various things. It was nice to get a few more hay bales to decorate with as well. So we'll probably harvest some of this wheat, and I'm sure the empty patches here and there will get filled out in time. So do not worry about those. So now we've got a more permanent resident for the stables here. I figured, why not add in a cauldron that would give them access to water, like so. So let's push the horse to one side a little bit, pop a cauldron down in here. Why can I not place a cauldron? Is that still in your hitbox? Are you larger, boy, than I expected? Yeah, you are. All right, let's pop that in there. And you may actually want to make sure the fence is a little bit higher around this cauldron, because there's every chance that the horse might be able to walk up onto there and then walk out through the sides, because they can get up onto single blocks like any other animal could, and I imagine they might end up doing that in just a second. So I'm going to grab another couple of fences before it's too late and just fill in the sides here a little bit for precautionary reasons. We might actually add in a fence gate there so we can have like an open section right there. That's going to look quite nice. It's going to change up the design of this a little bit, and I think maybe we will try and do that with each section here, just to have a nice sort of open section while making it clear that you can't move between these. And it can lend a little bit of structure to the stable here, which otherwise from the side looks a little bit plain, looks a little bit open. So having some structure in there is going to be a good idea. But with the cauldron representing a water trough and a couple of like grass path blocks in there to make it look like the ground has been trampled, maybe we'll swap in some coarse dirt or some podzol in there. It'll help with the immersion a little bit. I think it'll look quite nice. And now that we've taken care of our skeleton horse, let's talk about the normal horses and the horses that you'll have to tame. Now there are a few different foods that you can use to get horses to like you a little bit better, to make the taming process a bit easier, and those are sugar, wheat, apples, and golden carrots. And golden carrots I don't think are something we covered in the series so far, so let me grab a few gold nuggets out of here and I can demonstrate. Normal carrots are things that you can just grow in a field as normal. Do I have any carrots in here in one of these crop chests? Yes, there we go. And we're used to growing carrots by now, they're just a standard Minecraft crop, but if you surround them with golden nuggets in a crafting table, golden nuggets you can get either from pigmen or from loot chests occasionally, or just by breaking down a gold ingot into 9 gold nuggets. If you surround a carrot with them, you will get yourself a golden carrot. And golden carrots are, interestingly enough, player food as well as horse food. You can eat a golden carrot and it will actually give you more saturation than any other food item in the game. We haven't really talked about saturation all that much. Saturation is a kind of hidden attribute that basically means how long it takes until you get hungry again. Normally, because I'm eating steak, you won't see my hunger bar depleting all that often. But if you eat other foods, if you eat things like bread or cookies or melon slices or anything like that, you'll find that you start to get hungry again faster than you would if you were eating steak regularly. And that is because of this saturation value. Golden carrots do actually restore the most saturation of any food in the game, so they're kind of nice to have. They don't restore quite as much of your hunger points as steak does, but they will actually keep you full for longer. Now, let's tame this horse over here, I think, because I don't see that many other horses around the place. There are a few. There's one over there who keeps roaming around on that side of the mountain, but this one is right here in front of us, and I think it's a good idea to demonstrate the taming mechanics now. So if we try and get on this horse, note that you can only tame a horse with an open hand, so make sure you've got at least one free inventory slot in your hotbar, and right-click when you haven't got any other items in your hand, and you will try and get on the horse. And it'll look like you've succeeded at first, but then the horse will buck you off like that. It will throw you off the back of it, and it won't let you continue to ride it. Now, this is because the horses have a kind of friendliness meter that needs to get filled up before you can actually ride them. Now, normally, if you just right-click on them over and over again, eventually they will get used to you. But it's kind of nice to give them some food. So let's try giving this one a little bit of sugar. You'll notice they have a really cute eating animation. We can give it some of the other food as well. And you won't really be able to tell when the threshold has been met, when they'll kind of be happiest with you. But let's give them one each of some of these. And these are all also foods that will heal a horse if a horse takes any damage, so it's worth remembering some of those. Now I've fed it a piece of sugar, a piece of wheat, an apple, and a golden carrot. Let's see if it's more happy with me this time around. Oh no, it's still throwing me off. Well, we've at least made a little bit of progress. We are slightly more likely to have this horse on our side. Let's feed it the rest of this wheat, as we're clearly growing a whole lot of wheat over there, and let's try one more time. Third time lucky. How about that? Oh, yes, there we go. We have made a friend. Fantastic stuff. And wow, this is a very healthy horse. If you look at the amount of hearts it has down there compared to the skeleton horse, you can see why these horses are potentially going to be a little bit better. Now let's experiment with the lead, because you can actually lead a horse if it's not a skeleton one. And yeah, right-clicking on it with a lead will attach the lead to it, and then it will follow you for a distance of, well, it'll follow you around as long as you want, as long as the lead stays within a certain distance, because if you go too far and the horse is still like lagging behind a little bit, the lead will break and it'll just drop on the ground. You won't be able to lead the horse any further, but you can effectively just lead a horse in the general area of where you want to go. Now, if we right-click on a fence post, like so, the horse will actually be tied to that fence post and will stay within about 3 or 4 blocks of it. It won't be able to go any further. And that's kind of ideal to have with horses, because as you saw with the skeleton horse, they have a tendency to wander around. And if there's dangerous terrain around, there's every chance they might run into a ravine or something like that. You don't really want that. You also don't want them taking too much fall damage damage or suffocation damage from anything that might be nearby. So let's quickly run and get another saddle, and we'll be able to add this horse to our paddock, but we can also check out the horse's stats, and by which I mean we've already seen their health, but we can see how high it will jump and how fast it can run. So I'm going to right-click on the horse, add a saddle. You can do that from a standing position, and you'll notice that this horse also has a second slot here, which is for horse armor, which I actually have some of. If you remember, we actually gathered some of that from dungeon chests in the Nether. Now you'll notice this is the one problem with leads right now. Unfortunately, they are a little bit bugged out, and you'll notice the lead disappeared. The kind of wound section of it was still around this fence post over here, but the lead itself, the graphic of the lead being connected to the horse, had disappeared, and that often means that the horse isn't connected to that fence post anymore and can go wherever it wants to. Now, when it comes to the health of a horse, you can easily see that on this screen. But when it comes to the speed or the jump height of a horse, that's stuff that is slightly more difficult to test. So let's walk up to this tree, for example. This tree is naturally 3 blocks high. If we were able to jump up onto the top of the canopy here, this would be a 3-block high jump. So let's see if our horse can get up there. Yes, just about. Just when we got that meter into the red, we were able to jump up 3 blocks. And that seems to be about the limit of this horse's jump height. There are some horses which are able to jump a height of 5 blocks. The maximum I think a horse can jump is about 5 blocks. So it gives you a bit of a choice. You know, you can stick with a horse who is fast, a horse who is strong, or a horse who can jump high. And then once you've got multiple horses, you can actually choose to breed them if you want to, and you will get some combination of the stats of those 2 horses with a bit of randomization thrown in the form of an extra kind of hypothetical third horse whose stats will get thrown in almost randomly. So you can end up with a horse that's a perfect combination of the previous 2 horses, or you can end up with a horse that is the perfect combination of the previous 2 horses and also a little bit rubbish. So I fully recommend trying out horse breeding. You can breed horses with golden apples or golden carrots. I recommend golden carrots because golden apples are more expensive and slightly more difficult to find. And these 2, I'm sure, will get along very well, despite the fact that one of them is a skeleton. But if we want to come back to this horse anytime, we can ride it out of here, just open the 2 fence gates, saddle up, and be on our way. The skeleton horses, because they are free tames, don't tend to have particularly great stats. As we saw, this one doesn't have a great deal of hearts. It's only got 7 compared to, I think, probably 14 is what this horse has. So there's definitely a distinguishing feature of this horse is that it's nice and healthy. The skeleton horses, because they're free tames, also don't have particularly great jump height or speed, and I'm pretty sure their stats are the same every time, so you don't need to worry too much about those. Skeleton horses are also sterile. You won't be able to breed them at all, so no skeletal babies will be born from these horses. And as with our skeletal friend, I'm going to add a cauldron in here with a water bucket, just so it looks like the horse has got somewhere to drink, and that's that. I don't expect to use horses all that much. Let me quickly demonstrate horse armor to you, though, because horse armor looks kind of cool. Here we go. I've got some golden horse armor. We can right-click on the horse to open its GUI, and then shift-click this into the armor slot like so. And doesn't that look cool? It just gets added to the texture of the horse, makes it look super majestic and gold-plated. The horse armor does have a functionality, though, in that it protects the horse if you're riding it and you get attacked by mobs. Normally, mobs won't go after horses because they're not really any threat. Even if they are technically owned by a player, they aren't necessarily recognized as part of the player. They won't be the target of mob attacks. Nothing really attacks horses when they're just roaming around, because that would be kind of difficult to control. Whereas if you're riding a horse as a player and you end up getting attacked, the horse will take damage before you do a lot of the time. So if you get attacked by a skeleton and it's shooting a bow at you, chances are the arrows are going to hit the horse. And that's why the horse has a health bar and so forth. The armor will protect it a little bit from that. It doesn't do a huge amount of protection. You can't enchant it or anything like that, but it will help. And of course, if you get attacked while riding a horse, you can always get off the horse and you'll find yourself a little bit more maneuverable, because it is a little bit unwieldy to swing a sword from horseback in this game. They are not the most kind of intuitive of mechanics. So I recommend stepping down off your horse and fighting stuff on foot if you can. But that's horses. That's horses in a nutshell, really. I don't have much else to say about them. I don't use them all that much in the game because, like I said, they are a little bit tricky to control, and once you have elytra or other means of transport, if you've laid down a minecart track, or something like that, it isn't as necessary to use horses. And the fact that you are taller when you ride a horse around means it's difficult to ride one through places like a forest. If you like get caught on trees or anything like that, your horse can fall into a ravine as well. Not to mention the fact that when you reach your destination, you either have to tie it up, which doesn't always work permanently, or find some place to store them like this, like a stable where you can keep your horse. But I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm going to leave the horses here. I think it's nice to have them around. They are some extra mobs, and it's something that I can tell you guys about if you're interested in the horse riding aspect of the game. Help yourself. But that's probably going to do it for today, folks. We've actually made a comprehensive little episode out of getting these horses on board, and I think that's where we're going to call it today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on the episode if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.